Okay, the building of our interest is the one behind you, which is the Hindu Rao Hospital. And this is how it looked post the rebellion. Again, it's from the same set of photographs.
Plastic board one.
If you like, I'll pass it around.
This is the original, is it?
This is the 1858 one, yeah. What was this?
Hindu Rao.
This is the Hindu Rao Hospital. This is how it looked just after the rebellion.
Oh.
All the shelling and...
Okay.
That time also it was a hospital?
No, no.
No, that time, let me start from the beginning. This house actually came up sometime in the first half of 19th century by an Englishman called Colebrook. After him, the chief guy, the important guy here, is a fellow called William Fraser. So those of you who've read Dalrymple would know of Fraser's stories from his books. Yeah, even Shamsur Rahman Farooqi's book. There's a book called
Delhi Besieged.
No, not Mirror of Beauty. The Mirror of Beauty. The original book is in Urdu, and it's called Kai Chand The Sare Asman, and it was translated in Hindi and now in English. It's The Mirror of Beauty and come out very recently, just a few months ago. So one brick of a book and quite nice. So it talks about the Delhi. The life of Delhi, lots of culture, Persian poetry thrown in, Urdu, heavy stuff, and a lot about culture of Delhi in the first half of 19th century. So all these characters, you'll find them in Farooqi's book as well. And it's actually quite a good read. It's a very good read. Now, Fraser is actually a resident, an employee of the English East India Company, who is stationed as an ambassador to the Mughal court. So this is the first half of 19th century, and this is the time when Mughals are not doing too well. Yeah, they are badly off, and the company has stationed an ambassador who's permanently at the Mughal court, telling the Mughals what to do. So the Mughals are pretty much helpless. So the resident decides how much to spend, when to spend, who to spend on, etc. All of it. One of the early residents is a fellow called William Fraser. And he's considered one of the good guys, a better guys actually, So again, drawing upon Dalrymple's theory, you must have heard of a book called The White Mughals, And the idea is that these are whites, Europeans, who have become so Mughalized that they are white Mughals. The book, that's what the book denotes. So it's a class of people Dalrymple refers to who acquire the ways and life of the locals. So they dress like the Mughal nobility, they eat their food, they speak their language, they marry local women, and so on. And this is in contrast to some people who are really arrogant, don't like it, and they dress in their English suits and all. So that's the contrast which has been offered. So William Fraser is apparently one of the good guys. And he's completely gone. He's very, very much a white Mughal, and he's very fluent in Persian, Urdu. He's holding literary gatherings, mushairas, patronizes Ghalib and all of that. And he's also very fond of Indian women. He has a rather glad eye for them, which actually led to his murder as well. So I'll come to the murder a little later. But this was William Fraser's house. And after William Fraser's murder, it was purchased by a Maratha nobleman.
That's a Hindu Rao.
Called Hindu Rao. Yeah. He's a relative of the Gwalior family, the Sindhyas there. Sindhyas, yeah. And
Peshwas, the Peshwa.
this is not the Peshwas. Peshwas are different.
But they all head and they went to Tanjore.
And there were forts like India,
What?
Holkars of
Holkars.
Indore,
Holkars were there.
Bhosles of Nagpur.
Bhosles
So
of
they used to call it the Maratha Confederacy.
Confederacy. Huh.
Even
So Peshwas
Tanjore
were
they
the
went.
head of all these four gangs.
And this guy, the Hindu Rao fellow, he purchased it, constructed it, rebuilt it as a residence, and the name has still been retained. That's why the name Hindu Rao Hospital. Now, around 1857, Hindu Rao was apparently on good terms with the British. So around 1857, a battalion of the Gurkhas was stationed here, and this again was a target by the rebels. This whole building was much targeted by the rebels. Later, it was converted into a hospital, and till now, it is still a hospital. Yeah. So that's why the significance of the building. There's not much that retains the colonial look.
Except the arch.
Yeah, maybe except an old-looking arch here and there, and a pillar there. But that's all. It's a much altered building now.
So the Maratha, Hindurao purchased it after
Fraser was killed. Now Fraser's killing is a bit of a spicy story. He is. I'm going by what Farooqi says in his book. Yeah. Now there is a principality, a princely state of Loharu in present day. So Loharu has the royal family of Loharu has a succession dispute, and Fraser, being the resident, is in a capacity to intervene. So he sides with one person. The other person is obviously very offended. Now the other guy, who doesn't like Fraser because of the succession dispute, is in love with a woman from who lives in the city of Delhi, and Fraser also has an eye on her, and she refutes Fraser's advances and goes with the Loharu chap. Huh? So obviously Fraser doesn't like it one bit, and the you know the negative vibes between them only increase. So now later, as to humiliate the Loharu fellow, Fraser says some objectionable things about the women of Loharu family in public. So this is a great humiliation which no one from the royal family would like to tolerate. And this fellow has Fraser bumped off. He's killed here in the ridge area, and the killing is done by an assassin who's on horseback, and to escape detection, he reverses the naal ko kya kehte hain? The shoes, the horseshoe. So the horseshoe is actually the way it is put on the hoops or the horse.
So they're going
it's
in the
reversed.
opposite direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if the horse moves in one direction, the hoof prints will show that it was coming from the direction rather than going there. So that was the technique used to put them off track. But still, after Fraser was killed, that was useful. But after that, they anyway hanged the Nawab. So they clued on him, even though there was no direct evidence. They managed to clue on him and said that off you go. So that's the bit about Fraser here, and he's one of the more interesting chaps who's done, like I said, more gossip about him than compared to others.
Last week I was at Kashmiri Gate Walk.
Huh.
I thought I saw William Fraser's bungalow out there, no?
There is another bungalow of Fraser, which is today
Close
the
to
railways
St. James'
office.
side,
Yeah, that's also his bungalow. So
a lot of property.
just beyond St. James Church. Yeah, and Fraser is buried in
And
St.
also
James
lots of women.
compound.
That's why he needed them also. He had to keep
lots of
The story is parallel to the grace we see at the Bakhtiar Kaki Dargah. Huh?
The Loharu, sorry,
Loharu.
the Loharu's there. Yes.